It said you will. You will. So, in saying that, don't listen to these prophets. Verse 10, for they prophesy a lie. Unto who? To remove you far from your land, and that I should drive you out, and you should perish. So these thoughts, it's going in our time right now. And these prophets prophesy to get you trapped to where you'll be punished by God. Satan longs for you to be punished by the Lord, because he knows if you're punished by God, who can help you? You think the devil's stupid tonight? He knows that if he comes at you, you can start praying that God move him out. But he knows if God's punishing you, you have no help. Now, what do you think he wants to do tonight? He wants you to be disobedient so you get punished by God. So he can swoop in. But if the Lord don't stop him, he has free reign at you. And that's scary tonight in this place. If the Lord don't stop him, he has free reign at you. And look what he did to Job in a matter of minutes. That's pretty important. Here comes all these prophets. They prophesy lies to us. Verse 11, but nations that bring their neck under the yoke of the king of Babylon and serve him, those will I let remain still in their own land, saith the Lord, and they shall kill it and dwell therein. Meaning, if you go under this bondage, I'm going to take care of you. But know that you're going into this bondage because you're disobedient. We don't want to hear that in today's time. God ain't going to put me in no kind of bondage because of my disobedience. Along with sin comes bondage. That's what a great many people are under right now. This time is a bondage because of their sin. And the Lord's going to punish it. Doesn't matter when. A lot of people right now think they've escaped his judgment. They've escaped his punishment because their heart ain't stopped yet. There's worse things than your heart stopping. A spiritual death is worse than your heart stopping. But you can die. You can live here of a heart attack and make it. But if you live here with a sin-sick soul, walk your own way, where are you going to end up? For how long? Oh, that ain't me. I ain't doing it. I'm tired of the bull rat that goes on in church people's mouths. Because if God didn't have a problem with stuff, he wouldn't have servants, he wouldn't have prophets, and he wouldn't be trying to speak in today's time. There's obviously a lot of bull rat going on. People that we like to justify, Sister Carol, what they do, maybe because somebody prophesied years ago, oh, nothing will ever happen to them, they'll be this all-star for the Lord years in the future. You can change God's prophecy into a curse. Changed in the Bible many times. Nineveh, God cursed them, they ended up blessing them. Did he not? Israel, he promised that they'd inherit the kingdom of milk and honey, and then 10 times of disobedience, he cut off and they all died in the wilderness. Did he not? Heaven help us. We shouldn't be listening to these people say they're okay. People that say they don't have no problems. Verse 12, I speak also to Zedekiah king of Judah according to all these words, saying, bring your neck under the yoke of the king of Babylon, and serve him and his people, and live. If the Lord puts a yoke upon us, ladies and gentlemen, for a reason. If he whips us, it's for a reason. We can live with the Lord with us. He's had to live with the Lord within you. I got Sister Christy was this morning. You people need to drive. You need to start in, hey, I've been whipped by the Lord, and I deserved it. I mean, I deserved it. Yep. I deserved it for my stupid actions. But we'll go under that yoke of bondage, Sister Christy, and we'll go under what he has arranged for us because of our disobedience, then we'll live. It's hard to live with. It's hard to swallow sometimes, is it not? Yes. And you look at yourself that I should have done better. I should have known better. Aren't you glad the Lord still loves you? Verse 13, why will we die, thou, thy people, by the sword, by famine, by pestilence, as the Lord has spoken against the nation, will not serve the king of Babylon? Therefore hearken not unto the words of the prophets that speak to you, saying, shall not serve the king of Babylon, for they prophesy lying to you. For I have not sent him. Listen to this. Saith the Lord, yet they prophesy a lie in my name. Oh, Lord have mercy. If somebody gets upset in Jesus' name, they got to be right. As if Satan don't know his name. And he don't know how to speak his name. And he don't know how to prophesy in his name. Well, Brother Adam, what did he say in Matthew? He said, did we prophesy in your name? But the Lord say, depart from me, you worker of iniquity. I never knew you. Is that all he's saying? He didn't send these people out here that telling you any way you want to. He didn't send them. He didn't send these people that listen to believe the lies. He didn't send the people that prophesy to pay tithes or prophesy to over you, the Church of God, or any other organization. He didn't send them. He didn't send these pastors that get paid to preach the gospel. They're his. That's plain and simple. I have sent them, saith the Lord, yet they prophesy a lie in my name, that I might drive you out, and that you might perish, you and the prophets that prophesy unto you. Also I spake to the priests and to all this people, saying, thus saith the Lord, hearken not to the words of the prophets that prophesy unto you, saying, behold, the vessels of the Lord's house shall now shortly be brought again from Babylon, for they prophesy a lie to you. This is when Babylon was starting to move against Israel, move against Judah. It was conquering every kingdom. Their army was so great, it was more than the sands and seas, and they were literally overpowering every army that had come against. They got word of Sister Christy and said, oh, don't worry about it. We're up on our big old hill, and God's for us. Jerusalem sat on a hill. It had its own wall around it. They thought they were so protected by God Almighty. They got the ark in there with them. They got everything. It doesn't matter how much a cross you have in your church, a cross around your neck, how much you read your Bible or whatever. If you've sinned and fallen short and are willfully doing it, then God's going to punish. He forgives and helps those that trip and fall. But those that will stay in it, He's going to punish. And His punishment is going to be a yoke and a bondage unto you. He's going to allow you to go into prison. And it's up to you whether or not you come out. I've gotten myself into prison before. Maybe I'm the only one. Don't listen to what these people say. When they come to you and they say, well, I did this and I did that, you know, this is God's punishment, look at them and say, yes. Yes. But you know what you do with it when you get whipped by the Lord? You nod your head and go on. You straighten up. Is it all what we do when our parents used to whip us? Shut up. Got her hickory switch over there and see like she can do anything with it. Verse 17, hearken not unto them, serve the king of Babylon, and live, wherefore should this city be laid waste? Basically, I'm telling you, he's going to come through, and if you willfully walk out of this place and serve him, according to my plan, because I'm going to make you do it because you've fallen short, then the city won't be burned and you'll live. God's trying to spare lives, is he not? He's trying to spare lives right here. What did Israel do in the end anyway? Jerusalem was fine, the king tried to escape anyway, the walls was burned, the city was torched. But God tried to spare that. He tried to spare us, Sister Christy. He really tries to spare us. But we listen. We'll eat to ourselves rhyming preachers that are stupid and idiotic. And then get mad when the Lord punishes us. Say, well, I know that guy prophesied over me that I'll be blessed. The Lord's saying, don't listen to them. They're not mine. He never speaks blessing to those in living sin. He's not going to justify the affairs. Ouch. He's not going to justify the casual this, the casual that. He's not going to justify the drugs, the alcohol, the living with people. He ain't going to justify it. It doesn't matter what church has said that he would. It doesn't matter what prophet has prophesied he would. He's going to judge it. And he's going to punish those that are found guilty. Oh, well. We need to start preaching again, hard, like we used to. People need it. But, verse 18, if they prophets, and if the word of the Lord with them, let them now make intercession to the Lord of hosts, and that the vessels which are left in the house of the Lord, and in the house of the king of Judah, and at Jerusalem, go not to Babylon. For thus saith the Lord of hosts concerning pillars, concerning the sea, concerning the bases, concerning the residue of the vessels that remain in the city, which Nebuchadnezzar king of Babylon took not, when he carried away captive Conai, the son of Jehoiakim, king of Judah, from Jerusalem to Babylon, and all the nobles of Judah and Jerusalem. Yea, thus saith the Lord of hosts, the God of Israel, concerning the vessels remain in the house of the Lord, and the house of the king of Judah and Jerusalem. They shall be carried to Babylon, and they shall be in the day I visit them, saith the Lord. Then will I bring them up and restore them to this place. Meaning, I'm going to let you lose everything. It's prophetic tonight. Yeah. I'm going to let you lose everything because you've been disobedient. I'll bring again unto you and restore all things. But you're going to have a time in the wilderness. Because if I don't get you out of you, you ain't going to make it. If you, when you see these things happen, drop down and begin to worship me and seek me, you're always going to fall. Why is it so difficult? Because people don't feel like they have to listen to little old people in very nice little suits, by the way. They go to little churches in Roseville. We don't have to listen to them, Sister Judy. What does Sister Jude know? What does Christy know? What does Adam know? What does Brother Chastain know? What do these people know? They don't know anything. Look at them. I promise you one thing. Whether or not you're willing to admit this or not, I know I hear from them, do you? I don't have to second guess or doubt myself. They're not. It's God speaking to me, to you. Be that close to you that you can hear His voice at midnight. Think about that. Some people say, hear from me. Well, God never tells you to climb in bed to somebody you ain't married to. Hope you do post this, by the way.
It's a good quality art I am.
God never tells you to do any of the things that's against His word. But we justify, oh, I'm just going to keep slipping. God didn't intend for you to keep slipping on the same thing, the same banana peel, 500 times. You don't expect that, and He won't tolerate it. But to the churches that preach the truth, folks don't want to be anywhere around us. So I thank God, Sister Judy, that we have a place that we can come here truly.
Yes, amen.
The day that we're living in. Thank you, Lord. I'm going to allow you to go through these things because you listen to false prophets. You listen to people tell you you're okay when you're not. You listen to people justify your sin when I condemn it. You wouldn't listen to me, you're listening to others. Psalms chapter 1, verse number 1. Blessed is the man that does not walk in the counsel of the ungodly. Is that not what the word says?
That's the word.
That's what it says, chapter 28. And it came to pass the same year, in the beginning of the reign of Zedekiah, king of Judah, in the 4th year, in the 5th month, that Hananiah, the son of Azur the prophet, which was of Gideon, spake unto me in the house of the Lord, in the presence of the priests and all the people, saying, Thus speaketh the Lord of hosts, the God of Israel, saying, I have broken the yoke of the king of Babylon. And God's saying you're going to go serve Him, and here comes some big prophet saying, no, yeah, God's going to break Him, and we're going to be just fine. Is that not what this world is saying right now? Is this not what Jimmy Swaggart promises his congregation that watches him, that the beast and the Antichrist will only rule over in Europe and it won't affect the United States? Is that not what he promises people, that you get saved into the tribulation? You can't serve God now, but you're going to lose your head for it in? Bull crap. But is that not how he makes money? Yeah. By spinning lies against this book? My Bible tells me the false Christ and the beast and all of that, the whole world will be subject to him. The whole earth does not. It says all. The prophets are not sent to New York. They're not sent to California. They're not sent to Asia. They're not sent to China. They're not sent to Japan. They're not sent to Africa. They're sent here. Jerusalem. Because that's the only people that's going to have the opportunity to hear what God's got to say in the tribulation. That's His people. We're out of here. Gentiles will be out of here. As much as people want to face that, we were lying about it. We want to see some member, Sister Christy, of rapture so we can live wrong up to that moment of it. That's what we want to do. Then at the last minute, call on God. He's told you, I'm coming like a thief in the night. You ain't going to know when I'm coming. And I love it. You got to be ready. But there's prophets saying there is no rapture. The prophets prophesying you can get right in the tribulation if you're a Gentile. There's prophets prophesying just like Hananiah did, things that God has not said. Verse 3, within 2 full years will I bring again to this place all the vessels of the Lord's house that Nebuchadnezzar king of Babylon took away. This place carried them to Babylon. And I will bring again this place Jeconiah, the son of Joachim, king of Judah, with all the captives of Judah that went into Babylon, saith the Lord, for I will break the yoke of the king of Babylon. That's the prophecy that Hananiah gave. 2 years, Christy. Israel spent 70 years in bondage to Babylon. I think the little prophet was about 68. It's no different, Christy, than Y2K the end. Get out there and get your groceries, get out there and get your stuff, because Y2K is the end. It's the end, it's the end. It rolled over, nobody missed a beat. To all the preachers and prophets that utter the words, their heads and their stupid.
Did not hear it from them.
They hear it from the Lord. Most of the things they hear from the Lord. God don't rhyme. Where in His Bible did He ever rhyme? No. Have a problem. Then the prophet Jeremiah, nobody wanted to hear Jeremiah because everything he said was bad. It was truth and it was bad. We don't want to listen to what he got to say, Job, because whatever time he opens his mouth, it's something horrible. Good. Because Israel And Judah and Jerusalem were living like hellions at the time, worshiping false gods, partying, getting drunk in the streets, but yet came in the God was with them. The way that seemeth right to man, in the end of death. Don't let me fall into that category of death. Any questions or comments so far in this? Because there's plenty of Hananiahs out there right now saying, thus saith the Lord. It's not him. Never was. Then the prophet Jeremiah said unto the prophet Hananiah, uh-oh, we have a prophet war here. In the presence of the priests, in the presence of all the people in the house of the Lord, even the prophet Jeremiah said, Amen, the Lord do so. The Lord performed thy words, which thou hast prophesied to bring again the vessels of the Lord's house, and all this carried away captive Babylon to this place. Nevertheless, yeah, it's going to be leaving all right. Nevertheless, hear thou now this word which I speak into thy ears and the ears of all people, to all the ones maybe listening out there, wherever they may be out there tonight, maybe outside the building, maybe on this, wherever they may be in here. Don't listen to that Adam says, you ain't going to be brought into judgment for what you've done. Mark my words. It's coming.
Yes, it is.
All the lies will be given account for. All hatred will have an answer given. All the bitterness. All the deception. All the false prophecies. I guarantee you it has been uttered for years, sisters. All of us go down. They're going to go down, but we're still here eating.
Amen.
We're going nowhere. We got hormone Susan tonight. Got all these hormones that walk in here with us, with Paul back there. All the people that go around with us, because we're such rotten, horrible people. Joe, we got him hooked in here now. Now he can't get out. Now he's just as trashy. Nevertheless, people, we say the prophets that have been before me and before me of old prophets prophesied both against many countries and its great kingdoms of war, of evil and pestilence. The prophet which prophesied peace, when the word of the prophet shall come to pass, then shall the prophet be known that the Lord hath truly sent him. Let the prophecy that comes to pass be the true prophet of God. All these prophecies have been given. Let God's word stand in them.
Amen.
Oh, he don't do it the first couple of years. Jeremiah prophesied how long about the destruction of Jerusalem? 40 years. 40 years did he warn their judgment was coming. It may be 40 years before somebody's judgment's been here, that's where it comes. But you know what? There came a day when Nebuchadnezzar marched on Jerusalem, burned its walls down, plucked the king's eyes out, murdered his children right in front of him, drug him off to live a life with no eyes, knowing that the last thing he ever seen was them ram a sword through his own son. Judgment's coming. And where's judgment going to begin, according to 2 Peter? At the house of God. The saints of the Lord is going to be just first. And all their rhyme, all their Y2Ks, and all their this, and all their that. God's coming. Yes. Behold, like quickly, my Lord is with me. There's a lot of Hananiahs out there right now. It ain't never going to come out of Adam, the false prophet. They called Jeremiah 140 years. In the end, prophecy came true. Who lay dead in the streets? Jerusalem. Who had their hearts cut out? Who had their eyes put out? Who had a rope tied around their bodies and yanked it by horses and everything else? I'll tell you something. Just because God don't answer it right away doesn't mean they come. They should listen to Jeremiah. If they'd have listened to Christy, went willingly in captivity, realized their sin, repented of it, and spent their years in bondage, they'd have lived. Daniel came up through it. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego came up through it. Ezekiel came up through Babylon captivity. Did God still not use these men? Look at what Nehemiah did. He rebuilt the walls to Jerusalem under that captivity. See, God's able to move even though he puts you in bondage. He's able to take care of you. Because there's something, a newsflash for all of us. Whether it's good or bad, it comes from God. So if you go home and your house is blown down and everybody you know is dead, you can look up in the sky and praise the Lord. That's he that's fit to do it. And if you curse him, he'll kill you. All Job had to do was open his mouth and curse God, and God struck him dead. But he uttered famous words that will never forgotten, says Jude. Naked I came in, and naked I'll leave. Blessed is the name of the Lord, for he gives and he takes. So no one said. I don't know if I can do that. You'll do it. You'll like it, because whether or not it's life or whether it's dead, it comes from God Almighty.
Yes, it does. Whether
the sun comes up, the storm rains down, just like they have all year, it comes from God Almighty. Whatever's happened, it comes from Him. If something hits and wipes out all the fruit and vegetables across this land, it comes from Him. But you know what? Those that love Him, He'll sustain and keep us.
Yes, amen.
Will not? How many's ever been sustained, kept by God?
Oh, yes. Every day.
Worst times are best times. That's why I said, I will never, quote it with me, leave you nor forsake you. Well, it seems like He forsook Him. The only time we invoke God's wrath is when we are disobedient and don't obey what He says. We had a choice this day. Believe what God said or reject it. Live or die. Is that not the option He's given them? Live or die. What did they choose? How did they choose it? Did they just step up, say, I will die. I will die. No. How did they choose it? By their actions. Did they choose their death? When Nebuchadnezzar marched on Jerusalem, they should have come out there with their hands raised and said, I surrender, for the Lord has prophesied we must endure this tribulation. And he already had Nebuchadnezzar labeled as his servant. He would have taken care of Josh. But they resisted. I don't care how much you resist him tonight, he will break you. Doesn't matter how strong you are, how much you've got, he'll break you. He will burn you the same as he burnt those walls. And he'll cast you down to a pit the same Jeremiah was cast into until you finally call on him. And if you refuse to, he'll wipe you out. That's the God that we serve. I love it. He's a holy, righteous God. He's never led me astray. He has corrected me a many times. Says, you not corrected you?
Yes, absolutely.
Hate it?
Yep. Absolutely.
What child loves correction? Jaden up, let's just go slapping him. I don't think he's going to like it. Does he?
No.
How many's ever uttered under your breath back to your parents when they couldn't hear you? They ever got in the room and let have it, buddy, and they went in there, they're like, come back in there, every glad he left when they I was getting ready to do that. They popped back in the door like, He didn't do that. We just went cleaning our room, stayed very quiet, silent, until we heard footsteps coming up the stairs. We just got quiet, cleaned our room. We got through it. Now I don't have to put up with it anymore. Now I watch it. Then Brooke hears my footsteps coming to the Lord with Lord. But Brooke don't care. She just lets it stay destiny. All right, well, let's look at this. Verse 10, then Hananiah the prophet took the yoke from off the prophet Jeremiah's neck and brake it. Oh, snap. The Lord has said, take a yoke and put it around your neck, prophesy to the people that I'm going to put a yoke around their neck of bondage. So he made his little yoke, he put it around his neck. It was symbolic. And this little prophet gets mad, grabs it, breaks it. No different when I went and prophesied and told the family at Little One Church of God about how they need to step up and do right. They had something to do for the Lord. And the wife, she didn't like what I had to say. She pulled her back. She's dead. She's the only one that's dead. When God sends somebody to the place, you shut up and listen. I don't care how much you don't like what's saying. I don't care how much you argue with. When God sends His prophet, you shut up and listen. Your life depends on it. And it doesn't matter how much what He says hurts. Obey it and you'll live. And come against it and you'll die. See it? I know that's a hard thing to have to face, Sister Christy, but it's time people know the truth around here.
Absolutely.
There was a person that tried to come to the family and correct them, and they didn't know a thing I had to say. Well, there's an alternative. It's death. Now the whole place fall apart. Disobedience leads to one area. Hell. And don't think because these people died, they just strolled in the portals of heaven. You're either for Him, this is Jesus talking, or you're against Him.
That's what He said.
Is that what He said?
Yep.
No between. Here's the prophet, he's grabbing it up in Hananiah, verse 11, spake in the presence of the people, saying, thus saith the Lord. Oh, he's got to come back with the prophecy, Sister Christy. He's got to try to rebuke God's prophet, try to come back with something else and let the people know, it ain't going to be that bad, folks. Does that sound like Jim?
Yeah.
Does that not sound like T.D. Jakes, Joel Osteen, and most of these hypocrite and whoremongers that's going to end up in pits of hell?
Yep.
Including the ones that's already there? Billy Graham?
Yep.
Oh, I don't think God's... Oh, America's pastor that Billy Graham busted hell wide open. You will never speak these words that there's another way to heaven beside Jesus. There's one way.
Amen.
One way. You're going to be in the heaven I'm going, you're in hell. Oh, and I said, he had seen Sister Christie. Thus saith the Lord, and so will I break the yoke of Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, for the neck of all nations within the space of 2 full years. And the prophet Jeremiah went his way. He didn't sit there and argue with him.
Nope.
No sense in it. You could sit there and argue about that line of case stuff in the middle of Walmart as they filled up their buggies all night long. They wouldn't have listened to it because they can't hear. Jesus told them, he said, you're blind, you're deaf.
That's right.
Can't hear, you can't see. I spoke to people back then and said, to the people out here that have no money to go get any, you think God's going to let them die? You think God's going to forsake them? He don't need your money. He don't need your gallons of water. He will provide. When Elisha had nothing, he had food by a raven and water in the brook. Did he not?
He did.
When water drew out, God had another plan. Sent him to a woman's house where there was nothing left but one meal.
Amen.
Did it not last?
Did.
God don't need us to take care of you. But if people had to trust God to the point ravens hit them, they would be dead somewhere in a field because they never would have heard the brook begin to argue with it. They'd have went with everybody else, Christy, died.
Yep.
God's servants listen to what he says. This little prophet says, well, I've done a cute thing now. I broke that yoke, and it's symbolic of me breaking, God breaking that yoke. It's going to be 2 years, 2 years. Then the word of the Lord came to Jeremiah the prophet after Hananiah the prophet had broken the yoke from off the neck of the prophet Jeremiah, saying, go and tell Hananiah, saying, thus saith the Lord, thou hast not broken the yokes of wood, but thou shalt make them yokes of iron. For thus saith the Lord of hosts, the God of Israel, I have put a yoke of iron upon the necks of all the nations, that they may serve Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, and they shall serve him. And I have given him the beasts of the field also. Then saith the prophet Jeremiah to Hananiah the prophet, now Hananiah, the Lord hath not sent thee. Thou makest people to trust in a lie. It's time we start rebuking these false prophets to the faces.
Amen.
To the Bolton Church of Gods, the East Brenner Church of Gods, the Kennington Church of Gods, all the other little church of gods around that prophesy their prophecies. It's time they rebuke to the faces. Their way hasn't been right. Their way isn't right, and it will never be right.
Amen.
God's way is right, but they can choose the scripture they want to read and the doctrine they want to believe. Folks need to read the Bible for themselves.
Yes, amen.
God can explain it to any one of you.
Yes,
What do you need somebody for? That's ugly for the chaplain. No, just as Jeremiah called this man out for his false prophecies, so do I call out James Barkers of the world, the Steve Smiths of the world. So do I call out the little Billy Griffins of the world and all the other bull crap that goes on in these churches just so they can come on and get them a little all-free tithes.
Amen.
It's false prophecy. There will be no devourer. Get what you have if you don't pay tithes. You are the temple of God. Tell me what money can do to save your temple. There's no more storehouse to be brought in because there is no more Levitical work being done. What needs to be done now is preaching the gospel of Jesus Christ and warning people of the false prophecies that are going out across the world. Don't you pay really interested close to this next couple of scriptures because this is how it's going to be. Therefore, thus saith the Lord, behold, I will cast thee from off the face of the earth. This year thou shalt die, because thou hast taught rebellion against the Lord. Oh, snap. Verse 17, so Hananiah the prophet died the same year in the 7th month. Do not come against God's anointed. It doesn't matter how much you prophesy. It doesn't matter how much they prophesy against us or me or whoever. If God before you,
Amen.
Who can be against you? They will be the ones that fall in. Because they teach the same rebellion to God's people. They hack God up 3 different ways with their Trinity belief. They teach people wrong about tithes to rob from them. They are the ones that are teaching people wrong and are the ones that should pay the price. When grace comes in all, once you get saved, wrong. You guys quiet in the place tonight. Any questions, comments on that right quick? Because I wanted to be very plain about it. Very plain. Jeremiah lived on. He made it through Joe. He made it through the attack on Jerusalem. They burnt the walls. They killed the king kids. They took the king away. Took all the people away. Let it nothing but rubble. But Jeremiah was done. And now it's dead. They took the prophet's sister, Judy, took the prophets out, slashed their throats, killed them. All the little false prophets. But Jeremiah lived on. Made it through it. He did his job. For 40 years, his job was just to warn Jerusalem of their sin and the punishment. But even during sin and punishment, Josh, God still loved them enough to help them if they would be obedient. But they resisted him every step of the way. Is that not Is that not very obvious of how things are in today's time that we're in right now? The church will do anything but listen to what God has to say. We don't want to hear it. Which should prophesy good things to us, that we're just going to be blessed and highly favored and all this stuff. No, you ain't. You'll die if you keep living in disobedience. That's what you're going to do. But we keep to ourselves, what? Let's turn to it. Let's read it. I think Sister Christy, if it works out, is going to publish this night. Let's read it. Let's let it go across the airwaves to the book of 2 Timothy. He tells us plainly. Verse 5, it says they have a form of godliness. A form. 2 Timothy 3:5. They will have a form of godliness. A form of it, Brother Russell. But beside, they'll be lovers of their own selves. They'll be covetous, boasters, proud, blasphemers, unholy, without natural affection, false accusers, traitors, high-minded, lovers of pleasures more than lovers of God. All these things. This mentioned in the scripture before that is what he's saying. They will be had inside their hearts. They'll have a form of godliness, but they'll deny the power thereof. What is the power of God? Everything must be done through one name. That's where the power comes in. The name of Jesus is where the power is. So when you have a form of godliness, but you deny the power thereof, you act like you know God, in essence you know not of Him at all. Is all power in heaven and earth given unto? Did He not say me? All power in heaven and earth given unto me? All power in heaven and earth. So when you deny the power, who do you deny? And you deny Him when you try to say He's not God. But the main thing is these people, these Hananiahs, they have a form of godliness. Joe, they wear a suit into a church and they pick up a microphone. Boy, I'll tell you, what a qualification that you're God's prophet. That for years, and not Sister Judy, I wanted to go out because it's time the church realized that these little men that would get up and preach and prophesy, trying to look down women's houses, trying to give an extra hug, how attractive they were. For years have we seen them with no makeup and their long skirts, and the whole time they're still having their affairs. Still lusting. Still wanting. We didn't mention it, though, Sister Judy, because we won't say nothing against the precious little pastor, but the part I like is that the people stand on this pulpit is just as much flesh you are. Why did we ever lift them up and exalt them in the place that we did? And every single one of them was abased, brought over. And the ones today are there. And I paid his life. Oh, he thought he was big, though he grabbed the yoke off there. Thus saith the Lord. He thought he was big. Touch not my anointing, and do my prophet no harm. That was the last yoke, the last prophet he ever rebuked. Because when you come against God's, you're going down. And you're going to go down hard. People used to hate my grandmother for saying that, but there was many of them that did they not? We're here to do a work of the Lord. We're trying to harm or hurt nobody, are we? We're trying to tell people the truth. That's all we want to do. We don't go out here and try to force it on people. If they don't hear it, fine. We just want to share what the Lord's done for us. We want to share the gospel of Jesus Christ. We want to share who He is. We want to tell people that you can have change in your life. Is that a bad thing? That somebody could go from bottom to top? That God could change life? That could deliver these people? It wasn't a bad thing either that Jesus healed on the Sabbath, but the church hated Him for it. What's so horrible about taking a man whose arm was linked with arthritis and healing him? What was so terrible about that? Because they didn't do it. They were jealous, full of envy, hatred. Thank you, Lord. It says denying the power thereof. And Timothy, Paul was writing to him, he said this, from those people that have a form of godliness but not the power thereof, turn from them. You cannot preach faith and preach Y2A's destruction. You can't do it. You can't teach faith and tell everybody to run, everybody else get hell. If you're going to preach faith, live faith. If you're going to preach it, Paul said, if you're going to preach it, live it. Uh-oh. They have a big old fun time telling us how wrong we are about every little thing. If you're going to preach to somebody, you better be living what you preach to them. Could we not? Amen. Because it was real easy to condemn old Susan for getting out of an abusive marriage. But it's fine. I've married twice. It made me sick. People make me sick. When they found the woman in adultery, they had stones in their hands. Jesus said, "You without sin, cast the first one." Cast it. I don't even want to think, Sister Chris, what he would have done to them if they thrown one stone at her. They didn't realize who was standing there. They thought he was just a good man standing there, Brother Chastain. They didn't realize he wrote the book found in the world. What would he have done to them if they tried to throw the stone? Yet he stooped down Joe in the ground and began to write and completely ignored everything the church had to say. God was ignoring his own people, Sister Donna, because of what they had become. What had become? Self-righteous hypocrites. Is that not what they are now? Newsflash, they were in the 50s, they were in the 60s, they were in the 70s, they were in the 80s, they were in the 90s, and they are in the 2000s. They ain't never changed. They're still hypocrites. With long skirts and their no makeup, about as ugly as paint on horns. And for years they damaged people. They prophesied to people, Sister Judy. In God's name have they prophesied to people. If you continue to wear that makeup and those clothes, you'll go to hell. They prophesied to people those things. Did they not?
Yes.
They were Hananiah's. And the one that comes along and says, "Don't worry about what it looks like on the outside as long as you're decent. And if you're God's child, you will be decent." So the one that says God cares more about what's going on in your heart than what looks on the outside. Did he tell the Pharisees, "You got to make the plat and the cup all pretty and clean, but inside you're full of extortion and lies"? The church don't like to hear that. They like to come with their suit on and rhyme a bunch of times, get an offering out of your pocket, and pretend that they're God's servant. Pretend to heard from him. Do you not know how serious it is to say that you heard from God and he's telling you to rhyme, but you never actually heard from him? Do you not know how scary that is? It never was him to begin with. You've just been doing it for a show, and you knew you have. Reprobates. No longer able to discern right and wrong. Reprobates. Well, they're good people. There's none good but God. I'm tired of people saying this is good or that is good. There's none good but God. That means every one of us are lousy. Flesh-filled, jealous, envious, bitter, angry at times people that God has to help on a daily basis or we'll split head wide open when we die. Would we not?
Yeah.
I can admit it. You can admit it, but can they? No, the church will go to their grave saying, "I ain't sinned 20 years." And they'll die and go because of that lie. Because that has to do with false prophecy. Because when you tell somebody you're going to go to hell for the clothes they wear, or makeup they have on, or the fact that they got out of a marriage 30-something years of nothing but abuse, and you tell them they're going to go to hell for it, you're prophesying lies of that person, and you will be judged. You will be judged. That's not God. But yet so many preachers are so quick to say it, Marsh. So quick to say it. How many husbands did the woman well have? 4. And the one she's shacking up with wasn't her husband. Uh-oh. There's some love there. It says, verse 6, "For of this sort are they which create the houses and lead captive city women laden with sin, led away with divers lusts, ever learning and never able to come to the knowledge of truth." Ever, Sister Donna, able to come to the knowledge of the truth. And if you look at 2 Timothy chapter 4, verse number 3, or actually verse number 4 and 3, it says, "For the time will come, they will not endure sound doctrine." Y2K, rhyming, Trinity. Look at all the dangerous things that roam around the gospel is today. "But after their own lust shall they heap to themselves teachers, Brother Russell, having itching ears, shall turn away their ears from the truth, and shall be turned to fables." It's scary when you tell somebody to get out from front of the train and they continue to stand there. Is it not? It's scary when you try to tell people the truth and it don't affect them. Can you even hear it anymore? Are you even saved? Most people think that they are saved, are not even saved. Never were. That's what's scary. Maybe the reason they can't hear what you're saying is because they don't understand what you're saying. Lost. But somebody told them they're saved years ago, and they believe they are. That's scary. How do you know that you are then? There's no way not knowing when Jesus lives inside you. So if it's in a question, that's scary. It really is. But people hate themselves, these people. Why? Because they made them vain promises. Well, if you'll put some money in old Billy Griffin's sermon while he writes to you, oh, God will bless you for that. There's even been people say, I gave 20, you got 200 back, and I gave to Billy Griffin. Oh, you idiot. You didn't do nothing to get money stolen from you. Satan give you a little bit more, so you keep giving. Do you not think he has the ability to bless you financially? Sure he does. Let me quote him in the wilderness with Jesus. If you'll bow down and worship me, I'll give you all kingdoms of this earth. Isn't that what he said? He has it in his ability to bless you tonight. He ain't shell it out if he wants to. To fool you and deceive you, he'll give you anything. He doesn't care. Here's the thing. I don't give these preachers. I give to them. I'm still best. More than the ones do. That's what I have. Because let me tell you something. Oh, that's right, Brother Joe. I don't pay tithes either. Oh, heavens to me. Oh, my gosh. Don't pay tithes. Don't give to these preachers. How do you stay blessed? I stay blessed because I have a king that I serve, a father that I serve, and a God that I turn to. That they stay blessed. That's what David said blessed. Who did David pay his tithe to? Who earned the title of man for God's own heart? We need to think about these things. Because Ananias has gone out and deceived a multitude of people. And he's right here in Roseville. He's in East Painter, in Ringo, Lafayette, East Ridge, Hamilton Place. He's in every one of these communities preaches lies. But the thing that I find the most humorous is that all these denominations are losing their congregations to mega churches. They're watching their paychecks fly right out the windows. Because many churches promise you don't have to serve God halfway. You go to church on Sunday morning, you got it. Their lies are greater than other lies. Deceiving and deceiving, Sister Donna. So, I'll read this couple of scriptures that I've done. Verse 5 says, watch thou all things, their afflictions, do the work of an evangelist, make full proof of ministry, for I am now ready to be offered, and the time of my departure is at hand. I have fought a good fight, I have finished my course, and I have kept the faith. I fought a good fight. A fight of faith I have fought, believing that God was with me every single day. But Paul spent his life rebuking those that had false doctrines. Do we? No. We're so afraid if we walk up to some of these people and tell that their doctrine's fake. What do? Make another face at you? Stick their tongue at you? There's a way of dealing with an ugly tongue stuck out at you. Slap it. Flip it. I guarantee they don't stick it out and get at you if you just flip it. They need rebuked to face. You don't need to let them come up to you and hug you, sweet talk you. I was telling Jennifer earlier, next to one of them Church of God pastors that try to hug you, tell them, don't touch you. They have no business. Men have no business hugging women. They ain't trying to hug you because they love you. They're trying to feel you. It's time people wake up. Some rather older, not so pretty person would say, yeah, they try to hug me all the time. Hey, you get desperate enough to go after one holding the family. Try to hug them. We're pretty sight. They believe that little buddy's got their own way to heaven. The whole time they're a twofold child of hell. That's what Jesus said. Search the world over, make one boss like you, end up making a twofold child of hell. More than yourself. That's what he said. Because it ain't in outward appearance. It ain't in how much you got in the bank. It ain't in how much food you store up. It ain't in none of this stuff. It's in Jesus. So in saying tonight, any closing comments? Anything anybody got anything to add? I feel like I'm the only one been talking about Johnny besides Jay. If we could just understand what that little kid was saying now, he's probably got a lot to say. With spiked hair. All right, that's all that we got tonight. Thank God for all of you that has come out tonight. Take this word with you and share it with somebody. But do not tolerate false doctrine. If it's false, rebuke it. Right then and there. Rebuke it. Don't let it come in your ears. Don't rebuke them. Rebuke that individual that's saying. Rebuke that church they go to. Don't sit there and take it. Rebuke it like Paul does. We love all of you. Be dismissed in Jesus' name. We love you.